It looks like with Wizards of the Coast taking over Commander, there's a lot of players speculating in the secondary market for the reserve list this week. So don't forget, guys, this is the reserve list top 10, the hottest selling cards on the reserve list this week from September 28th to August 5th, 2024. And we have got some interesting news to cover in today's video. Hey guys, welcome back. MTG Moxman here, guys. Thanks again for hanging out with me on today's video for the reserve list top 10, the hottest selling cards in Magic. Now, when we're talking about this video, let's not forget that if you're shopping for any of the cards we're talking about or anything else you want to buy, but you're using TCG Player, please remember to use my TCG Player affiliate link. It is found in the description of this video as well as all of my videos. Now, let's take a look at the number 10 card. Now, it looks like Bloomburrow is still having some after effects because Deranged Hermit from Urza's is still hanging out there with 43 sales this week, which is $3,110.62. Now, this card, in the last month and a half before we got into this craziness, this card was up to $86. Now it's going back down and it's going to drop, but what does that mean for you, the player? Well, this card is still great and Bloomburrow is still going to use it, and a lot of Commander decks will buy this card. But as the price continues to fall, we have interesting kind of developments happening where players are starting to buy this card on the falling knife. So as the price is going down, players are continuing to buy it. But the most interesting thing about this card right now is the fact that the cards being bought are the near mint versions. That's what's leaving the market right now, and that's basically what you needed to know about the Deranged Hermit. Now let's go ahead and take a look at number 9 this week, and that is Debt of Loyalty from Weatherlight. This card actually keeps climbing, okay? We saw it at $6, $7. We're up to $9.88, and it still sold 65 copies this week, which is $642.20. And for all the players out there who say the reserve list is not affordable, when you compare it to Modern Magic, it looks like it's a bargain basement price because this thing's $9.88, okay? It's like 30 years old, guys. You can buy the card. Now, for 2 white and a generic, what are we getting for our money? We get an instant that says, regenerate target creature, gain control of that creature. Great card. No, you can't just regenerate random creatures. There has to be some damage done to it and stuff. But there's still lots of ways of making this card work, and it seems to have a bit of a cult following right now. There's a lot of copies leaving the market still. For the copies here, it is everything from heavily played to near mint, so keep your eyes out. If you can find a cheap copy, why not buy 4 if you can get it for under $10, preferably even a little bit less. This card won't hold that price. Now, our next card at number 8 is Fastbond. This is speculation coming on the heels of Wizards of the Coast's announcement that they are taking over from the Rules Committee, and players are wondering if this card is going to be one of those cards that gets into that bracket 4, gets unbanned and comes back. I still don't think Wizards of the Coast has any incentive to kind of unban reserve list cards, but it is something players are still speculating on. This thing had 69 sales this week. That is $3,082, guys. That's a lot of money. Fastbond is a single casting cost enchantment that says you may put as many lands into play as you want each turn. Fastbond deals 1 damage to you, though, for each land beyond the first that you put in a single turn. That is insane. I realize that this card is so cheap, so powerful, reserve list, banned everywhere. And yes, speculators are buying this up. They're lapping up the juice, saying this thing could become unbanned, and then this card's going to hundreds of dollars. Why not take the risk? Why not take a little bit of a challenge and see if we can come out on top? So that's Fastbond for you. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our next card, because this one from Weatherlight, this one's got a little more staying power. This is Scorched Ruins. This card's at $63.27 on average. 70 sales this week. That's $4,428.90 if they were all near mint, and in this case, they're really not. People buying this are using them for Eldrazi decks. You've seen anywhere from about 30% of these sales are heavily played, okay? The people who can get their hands on these cards are looking for playable copies that they can actually utilize inside their Commander decks. So, Scorched Ruins, what do we get for this awesome, amazing land? Well, the artwork's pretty decent, but it says when Scorched Ruins comes into play, sacrifice 2 untapped lands or bury the Scorched Ruins. You got to add 4 colorless mana to your mana pool. That's why this thing is such an Eldrazi kind of like hype card. It's something you want to have around to add all that mana ramp in. And not to mention we had like Lodestone Bauble and stuff selling, so you could put those lands back on top of your library if they were basic. Interesting cards out there. Reserve list really does have a lot of fascinating cards to take a look at. Scorched Ruins is definitely one of them. And the price is still falling, so it's great. Now for our next card, we are taking a look at Forsaken Wastes from Mirage. This is on the heels of Duskmourn still. I can't believe this thing is still selling at this price range. 75 sales this week with an average price of $34.98 US per copy. That is $2,623.50. Guys, 75 copies of this just a few months ago would have only cost you about $300. So what is going on? The popularity of this card continues to grow, and that's because this gets used with Valvalgoth and in the Commander deck. You know, you look at the card, it says here it's going to be 1 black, 2 generic. Players can't gain life. During each player's upkeep, they take a damage. You can see how this is all working out for them. And then, even if you want to get rid of this thing, whoever casts the spell takes 5 damage. An insane card that really does play well. And until this card was created, nobody even cared about Forsaken Wastes. Now we jump back over to the Urza's block again. From Urza's Destiny, we have Replenish. This card has an average price tag of $95. It had 79 sales this week, which is a total value of $7,505, guys. This is a lot of sales for a card like this, but it does say return all enchantment cards from your graveyard to play for 1 white and 3 other. Now, what are we getting here, guys? When we look at this card, and you realize how many enchantments you can bring back. And with Valgoth's Lair, that's an enchantment land, so you can bring back a whole bunch of crazy stuff right now, and it's only going to get worse. Which means there are going to be more creations like this that allow certain reserve list cards to really go off. That you can probably expect Wizards of the Coast to do some kind of like hybrid cards that'll also work this way, just so they can utilize some of the cash flow coming from amazing cards like Replenish. A lot of players are buying this card and speculating. Keep your eyes out for copies, guys. Now for our next card, we're jumping over because this is Griffin Canyon. It's $10.13. This is the 4th week in a row it's been here on the top 10, and it continues to gain in value. Guys, this one was like $5 and something, then $6, then $8, then $9, and now we're up to $10.13. 83 sales this week, but that's still only $931.96. Not a big price tag. Griffin Canyon, though, amazing artwork. You look at this thing, it says, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool, or you can tap to untap a target Griffin, and that Griffin gets +1/+1. Yes, shapeshifters, changelings, but really it's a lot of players speculating on the open market that we're going to have some crazy stuff in Final Fantasy, and that continues to drive home. I know that Final Fantasy has a lot of Griffins in it over the different iterations of the playing, so this is going to be one of those things we're really going to keep our eye out for, because if this comes around, this card's going to shoot up really quick with FOMO biting right into it. But now, of course, we're back to Urza's Destiny with Academy Rector. This card comes in with an average price tag of $57.06, and it had 126 sales this week, or $7,189.56. This card has become very affordable off of its highs of around $160 US. This thing's at 1/3 the price, making it a very affordable option. So what do we get? Well, it's a 4 casting cost. 1 white, 3 other, and it's a 1/2 creature, but it says, when Academy Rector is put into a graveyard from play, you may remove it from the game. And if you do, search your library for an enchantment card and put that thing into play, shuffle your library. This makes it an extremely powerful card that can be utilized. You can kill it yourself, find ways of making it go to the graveyard, and that allows you to get that key enchantment that is going to win you the game. It's part of a few win cons in Commander, but at this price tag, it's amazing. You can find it for about $38 on TCG Player. Now for our number 2 card this week, it's Zuberi the Golden Feather. Again, the whole Final Fantasy thing coming around. 204 sales this week. I believe this card is really going to sell well for the next few months as players, kind of wait for the price to wear off and then buy it again, wear off and buy it again. So it's going to go up and down. This thing comes in here at $3.21 on average though, guys. It's not making a big price dent, but when you look at the card, great artwork, by the way. It is a summon legend. It does count as a Griffin, but all other Griffins get +1/+1. So if they give us a few big Griffins, a few bad boss monster type things, you might see a whole bunch of people trying to build Griffin decks, which means FOMO takes over, Griffin Canyon, Zuberi here, you're going to have a lot of sales. Players are already starting to buy a lot of different Griffins that have been in more modern sets, so it's always something to keep your eye on, but that's not the number 1 card. As great as Zuberi is, he is not the one that's going to bring it home. The number 1 card shows you how bad speculation is. This is Tolarian Academy. Tolarian Academy is pretty much banned everywhere, boys and girls. This thing again is from the Urza's Saga block, and you look at this thing with 302 sales. That's $48,924. This thing has jumped up to $162, and it is all because of bracket 4. When people think of these powerful cards in Commander and the idea that things might get unbanned, well, Tolarian Academy comes to mind. It's a legendary land that says, add 1 blue to your mana pool for each artifact you control. Guys, an amazing card. I can see why players would hope this would happen, just like Fastbond. I still don't think it has the teeth to make it happen, but that isn't going to stop speculators from jumping into this market if they could get the card cheap enough. Now we're going to do a little bit of a wrap up here at the end of the video to kind of let you know what else is going on inside the market. But this was your top 10, guys. Tolarian Academy comes out on top, and it's a big surprise. I'm sure at home right now you're watching this video and you said, how could Tolarian Academy make it to number 1? Why is Fastbond even on the list right now? This is where speculation can take hold when players believe something is really going to change. There are people who have been around this market long enough to understand that change doesn't always have to be rational. When you look at Tolarian Academy, you see a card that is basically unplayable because it would just change the face of power levels. But if you're going to a bracket 4 system with infinite mana loops and all kinds of crazy 1, 2, 3 turn combo kill things in a 99 card deck, you are looking at the face of what people are hoping to get unbanned. They say all this craziness already exists. How much more damage could a card like Tolarian Academy do? How bad could it be if Fastbond gets unbanned? How could this make it worse? And it doesn't matter if you believe them or not, or if you can rationalize the same way they are, but the sales are happening, people are buying it. Wizards of the Coast taking over leaves that window of opportunity, that window of hope that things may shift. And those speculators are hoping to cash in if things change. This isn't like it's one person buying a single copy of Tolarian Academy. When somebody buys 6, 7, 8 copies at one time, that's a lot of money being spent, hoping you can flip it into something else. Hoping you catch the blade before it gets risen again to do the next chop down. And you're hoping to catch it at the high before it falls back down. Guys, this is a crazy time. We have Wizards of the Coast doing something we didn't think would really happen in the near future at least, and now that's happened. People are buying random cards. They are buying crazy stuff. And I'll be honest, a lot of these cards aren't the ones I'd be focusing on, but that's okay. A lot of people are interested. We got tons of market sales and data to back it up. It is going to be fascinating to see if these cards can continue to hold value or if they are going to go back down. I'll be honest, Forsaken Waste, I could have sworn was going to start falling by now, and it is kind of falling, just not nearly as fast as I thought because people keep buying the card. Guys, thanks again for hanging out. Thanks for being here on the channel today. And I look forward to seeing you guys tonight at my live stream. Because whenever you're watching these videos, it's on a Sunday, which means I have a live stream 6:30 Eastern Standard Time. I hope you guys get to make it out to the conversation of Magic, and we'll get a little bit of well, we'll see what happens. Guys, thanks again for hanging out. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. Well, here we are at the end. We're looking at all these amazing patrons and supporters of the channel, and you realize, oh, it's happening. Daily videos, daily content coming at everyone every single day. And it's because of the patrons. It is because of the YouTube membership members who support my channel. Without them, guys, let's face it, there wouldn't be a channel. So thanks again for that support. We'll see you guys tomorrow with another video, of course. Alright guys, you made it to the end. You're wondering, which cards would Moxman be buying? Do you remember Damping Field? You should look it up. From Antiquities. Only let you untap 1 artifact a turn. How about Haunting Wind? There are some cheap reserve list cards that used to be like $70, $80, $90 that are now down 90%. They're back to $3, $4. Those are the cards I hit because if I look at that card and say, where could it go again? What could happen if we get another Brothers War set? Or people forget and move on. And when it gets found again, it's like a whole new epiphany that it's a brand new thing. But if you look at the data of the history, you know it already happened. Now, there is evidence to support that players are catching on. Because a card like Deranged Hermit isn't just dropping like a rock. People are buying it as it goes down at different price points they consider reasonable. Now, that leads me to believe that players are being educated and they're learning from YouTube channels like myself and many others. And they can see that the next time some cute animals come along, or squirrel, we're going to see it go back up. Now, that doesn't mean that's a player buying it. It could be a speculator, but I'm saying people are learning. But there are so many reserve list cards that have been affected. How about Mind Over Matter? How about Still Devi Digger? Look at all the cards that have been hit this year. And you look at them and say, look at all the combinations that still get played, but people forget. So as these cards go down, there's an opportunity there. I'm not saying you have to buy them all. I'm just saying people forget, and somebody's going to make money off of you forgetting. So anyway, ramble jamble, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great one, guys. People forget.